Coming up today on This Is True Really News.
I have a Florida man story.
I've got a stupid post office person story.
Maybe they're the same story.
Ooh, this could be fun. Does yours
Or
have a
not.
stamp in it?
No, it has a stomp in it.
Mine has a stamp in it. So stamping and
Mine
stomping.
has a stomp in it, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
Probably
So-
wouldn't get the mail any faster either way.
If you sound interested in that, or if that sounds interesting to you, please just watch the show. And if you like it well enough,
And if you're 65, call your doctor for a wellness check,
like, subscribe, and follow This Is True Really News.
if you would.
We're trying to grow the audience, and we
We are.
appreciate, we like Jessa Lynn especially because she's being very encouraging. She's not
Haven't-
insulting us the way Chris does.
He doesn't always insult us, mostly just you.
Well, that's my point, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Mom, he's picking on me again.
So you're a flake, are you?
Yeah, well, that's me.
Snow boy?
Shut up. So, and if you have a fun
Send
story
it- yeah, there you go.
you want to send to us, TITR@netradio.network.
That's Titter.
This is True, Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true,
Really?
as far as you know.
Florida man. And this is
Hey.
not the Florida man being stupid. I don't think. Could be. Florida man who already has sleep challenges was battered early yesterday by his ex-wife as she ripped off his CPAP machine while he was snoozing. Cops made the report. Victim was left bloodied after a 3:45 a.m. incident. Investigators say that 42-year-old Jennifer Calandria and the victim lived together in a St. Petersburg home
Mhm.
owned by the 42-year-old man.
Okay.
Calandria and her ex-spouse divorced in 2009, records show, which makes you wonder, why is she there? According to the man, he was asleep in bed early Monday, CPAP in place, when she, quote,
I'll do the visual.
what? Actually, you look more like a starfish is stuck into your face. So, yeah.
Ooh,
When Calandria came into
Starfish
the
kiss.
room, hey, we're telling a story here.
sorry.
You sleep early Monday, CPAP on. Calandria came into the room and ripped the breathing device off his face, which apparently ripped part of his lower lip. Now there's
Oh,
blood involved.
yeah.
She then began arguing with him. Well, that's always a bright thing to do, argue with someone you've just jostled awake the hard way.
At 3:45 in the morning?
In the morning. Well, why would you be sleeping then? Calandria was arrested for domestic battery, a misdemeanor, booked into the county jail, from which she was released on her own recognizance. A judge has ordered her to have no contact with her former husband. That'll keep him away. While an arrest affidavit does not indicate why she was living with her ex at the moment, the residential agreement appears recent because just last year, the victim was arrested following a domestic confrontation with a woman whom he had been in a romantic relationship with for 12 years. That domestic battery case was dropped by prosecutors. So now I'm beginning to wonder, is he just stupid? Or just has that face that you want to punch? I don't. Dude, try to find spindly little women.
You don't want the ones who can crush your head.
No, don't want. If you got someone that says, wow, she looks just like Wonder Woman, avoid that. Sheesh.
So this is a first-person story. A customer at my post office complained that his stamp wasn't sticking.
Well, that sucks.
I put my hand out.
Actually, should have been licked, but hey,
I put my hand out, and this moron put a soaking wet stamp in my hand. I said, "Why is it wet?" Well, he'd been licking it for a good 30 seconds and trying to slap it on his letter. I get the idea this guy does not send many letters, right? So I gave it back to him and told him they're self-adhesive.
I'm getting the idea he would know how to write one.
They're self-adhesive, and you have to peel off the paper on the back. I also used about 6 squirts of hand sanitizer immediately.
Do you know the last time I saw someone lick a stamp? It was Ed Asner on the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
I thought it was the S&H green stamp in my,
That was
that
even
book.
earlier.
Well, right. He then got mad and said that he always licks them and we're idiots. Yeah, we're the idiots.
That's it.
and don't know what we're talking about. I tried to explain to him that they've been this way since the 90s, but he didn't believe me. After complaining a little while longer, he had the audacity to ask me to peel the paper off for him. Says, I'm not touching that stamp again. I'll sell you a new one.
I can tell you how many shades of no I'm thinking in my head.
Guy got pissed and stormed out.
See, I didn't think it was possible to make the Postal Service look sympathetic. Well, as long as we seem to have Florida people on the brain today.
Okay.
A suspect's been arrested in the death of an 87-year-old Florida man.
Good.
It was a hole-in-one photo that wound up assisting authorities in tracking him down.
But
Follow me now. You might want a pen and jot some notes.
no.
The sad tale comes from The Villages. Was reported last week by villagesnews.com.
Okay.
The same outlet that, oddly enough, reported Robert Moore's hole-in-one back in February.
Okay.
But now the 75-year-old Moore from Massachusetts has been charged with aggravated manslaughter. The charge stems from the tragic death of 87-year-old Dean Zook back in July. A couple weeks prior, Zook and his wife were going out to dinner at
the Florida Zooks?
The Florida Zooks.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember Ronnie Zook? Mr. and Mrs. Yeah.
Yep.
A couple of weeks prior to that, he and his wife were going to dinner at the Glenview Country Club when Zook bumped a parked vehicle with his car. Well, that's never happened before.
Nobody's ever had an accident.
No. A man, thinking his car had been damaged, began punching Zook before realizing it wasn't his car that had been hit, and he quit punching him and walked away. But the damage was done. Zook had suffered some head trauma, some brain bleed, was at a nearby hospital and never recovered.
Well, and it didn't help when his head hit the pavement. I'll tell you that for
I'm
sure.
guessing that wouldn't be a help.
Yeah.
In the meantime, the search is on now for said assailant, led by the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. They posted surveillance photos of a man who fit the description, picking up food at the Glenview Country Club earlier that day. Surveillance footage also showed the man bumping into a server and spilling drinks on a customer at the bar. So he's all in all a nice guy. That led to
me guessing he's drunk,
or
which might account for some of his decision making.
Rude as all get out, which would also,
or just a self-important poop head.
Or he could be all of those, which would be worse.
Yeah.
So that led to police being tipped off about a photo of a man fitting the description going by the name Bob. When detectives did a Google image search using the picture they came across, they found a photo of Moore from villagenews.com, in which he was posing after his hole-in-one at the Tarpon Boyle Executive Golf Course earlier this year. According to the detective, Moore appeared to be wearing the same shoes, shorts, and sunglasses as seen in the video surveillance from the Glenview Country Club.
So he has a uniform he wears.
Always change your clothes, dude.
Just a tip to those of you who want to kill someone with your bare hands.
If you're going to commit felony assault and manslaughter, you should probably, just a thought, not wear the same clothes you've got in a picture that's been all over the area. Thought. Detective also noted that Glenview's close proximity to Moore's home in the village of Polo Ridge, and the fact that his black Lexus was a very close match to the vehicle struck by Zook in June. Moore was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center, released on $30,000 bond. Yikes.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Our story of unintended consequences.
Uh-oh.
In an attempt to aid those with allergies to sesame seeds, the FDA added the ingredient to a long-standing list of items, including eggs, milk, and shellfish, whose presence must be noted on the packaging for food products and at restaurants. So, food producers started adding sesame to products that previously contained none. The food producers were simply doing what made economic sense. The FDA's fines for not disclosing the inclusion of sesame are steep, and it's simply cheaper to add a few seeds to everything than to face potential penalties for accidental mixing. Quote, Rather than worry about how to prevent potential cross-contamination in products that don't contain sesame, some restaurants and food makers, including Olive Garden, Chick-fil-A, and Wendy's, are simply adding sesame to their products. That way, they can list it as an ingredient and not worry about being faulted for accidental contamination. Reasons Elizabeth Nolan Brown wrote last year. This is from Reason.com, of course. The result? Fewer sesame seed-free products are now available for people who are allergic. Didn't see that one coming, did you, FDA? Like most of the time.
I am pretty damn shocked now.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God you have made the world safe from Sesame seeds. You can't make the world safe from Sesame Street because it's out there.
Yeah, and there's nothing we can do. And then there's Blue's Clues, and we're just surrounded by them.
I like Blue. Is the human was kind of a dork with me.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.